Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
Okay, we're back with you, Sports Talk Media Network. I mentioned earlier that we had reached out to a couple of folks, hoping to have them on the show with us tonight, including Citadel football coach Maurice Drayton, who's actually on the road speaking at a Citadel Club meeting. I think he said he's up in Chester, and my goodness, he was kind enough to take a few minutes away from those hungry Bulldogs to join the hungry football fans here on Sports Talk, because we love to talk football any time of the year. We welcome Coach to the program. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, how we doing, sir? I'm here at the Chester Fairfield Citadel Club with my good friend, Judge Gibbons. He's standing right here with me. How we doing tonight?
Hey, it's good to have judges as good friends. That's the first thing I got to say. You never know.
I'm honored that Coach would even acknowledge and say my name on this illustrious broadcast, but thank you for allowing me to say
that. Well, thank you for jumping on. And just remember us next time we need a ticket killed or something like that. I appreciate any of the help we can get.
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight?
We're doing fine. Now, I'm confused. Is this the judge or is this Maurice?
No, this is Maurice.
Okay. I wasn't sure going back and forth. The question is, how are you? How are the fans there at the Bulldog Club, and what kind of questions are they firing at you?
Oh, we're doing great. We're excited. Of course, everybody wants to know about NIL. They want to know how we're going to do this season. They want to know who's the quarterback. They want to know what schemes we're running. They want to know all the intricate details that I will only give if you're present at a meeting. But for you, I'll give you a little bit.
Okay. Tell us, what do you think about all that?
Well, I tell you what, I'm excited about our upcoming season. Feel really good about our incoming class. We're bringing in 42 prospects, and with those 42, that includes walk-ons and partial scholarships. At the FCS level, we can break up our scholarships. I have guys coming from 11 different states, 22 from the great state of South Carolina, because we have to win home first, 7 from Florida, 4 from Georgia, 2 from North Carolina. And then it was important for me at our level to go into the Midwest, because if you want to be a perennial power, if you want to win playoff games, you have to go through the Midwest right now, through the Dakotas. So we decided, and we took a guy from Indiana, Illinois, Nebraska, Tennessee, Missouri, and 2 other states we visited. We went to Maryland and took a young man, and California. So we're excited about this incoming class.
Very good, very good. Tough year last year. No other way to cut it, and no sense trying to sugarcoat it. It was a tough year for you guys. What did last year do for you as a head coach to go through a winless season with the kind of struggles you guys had, especially on the offensive side?
Well, let me tell you, yes, it was a struggle from a win-loss standpoint, but what wasn't a struggle is the lessons we were able to learn each week. So mistakes happen, but I don't believe in mistakes, right? If we learn from it, they are lessons learned, and we have a lot of lessons learned, and that's great for us. We started or either had significant playing time out of we had 16 freshmen that started or had significant playing time from week 7 on. With this incoming class, it would be very similar. So the challenge to our coaches, the challenge to our university and organization is how fast can we grow puppies into bulldogs? Because our average age was 17 to 19 years old playing against 21 to 23-year-old grown men. That's a big difference. So how fast can I grow these puppies into bulldogs? That is the challenge to our coaches, our organization, and myself.
Well, you talked about bringing in a bunch of new folks. I think one that caught the attention of your fans down there, the transfer quarterback, Jonathan Bennett, out of Somerville, who was at Liberty. And what kind of impact has he had since entering the program and going through spring ball?
Absolutely. First of all, he's a grown man. He fits in that category in which I spoke about earlier of being older, of being that 21 to 23 years old. He's won on a high level. He has game experience. He's battle tested, and he's giving and he's inserting that into our program, into our DNA, into our culture that we're building. Our guys are like a sponge around him. When he talks, they listen. It's sort of like drinking out of a fire hydrant. You can't get it all in one setting, but you try to get as much as you can, and that's what he's pouring into our program. He also wants to be a coach. So because of that, he is now a coach on the field. He is coaching our players in addition to being their teammates.
Maurice Drayton, head football coach at the Citadel, with us here tonight on Sports Talk. Coach, I'm fascinated by your point about recruiting and how you've tried to expand your recruiting base into the Midwest, because that's where right now the best FCS level football is being played. You don't have to tell Phil nor myself how important the Citadel is to the state of South Carolina. We're natives. We understand that. But when you go into South Dakota, when you go to Missouri, when you go to Minnesota to try and recruit a high school kid, what is your recruiting pitch so they start to understand how big a deal playing at the Citadel might be?
It's really easy. First of all, I sell myself. I spent 4 years with the Green Bay Packers organization and 2 years with the Indianapolis Colts. So we have connections with high school coaches already from doing clinics, from doing talks, from doing the right things as a pro coach, stepping into those realms, meeting people. When it comes down to recruiting, it's all about personal relationships. So once you establish those personal relationships with the high school coaches, with the people in the community, with the custodians in the school, with the ministers in the churches, with all those people, it quite frankly, it's pretty easy. It's just a matter of finding the player who's willing to travel the miles. He's sold on the school. He's sold on the football program. Now it's, am I able to live away from home and not see my family as much?
It's a fascinating point, and I love it. I love that recruiting pitch you have already sort of built in from your playing and coaching days. You talked about name, image, and likeness earlier. That's the current status of where we are in college athletics. What kind of challenge do you have at the Citadel, smaller school, military-based school, to be able to get enough name, image, and likeness money to bring in the players you need to turn the program around?
Well, let's be upfront, honest, and foremost, which I am with all of our recruits, all of our alumni, on our base. Our school does not have a collective. That's not where we are right now. But I cannot stop a young man from going out and getting his own NIL deal. Now, last time I looked, as I ride my bike in downtown Charleston to get exercise, there are businesses all over the place that is starving to be a part of this. There's businesses that want to be a part, that want to support young men who are built differently, young men who are willing to get up in the morning and do the military aspect, young men who understand time management, young men who understand accountability. There's so many businesses in Charleston and the surrounding area that want to be a part, and I just can't wait for them to tap into our young men. I cannot push that, but those businesses definitely can reach out to the young men.
So what you're saying, and I salute you, and I don't mean that in a joking manner because we're talking about the Citadel, but what you're saying is you're doing it, the Citadel's doing it the way it was drawn up, the way it was meant to be. Mm-hmm. No collective. You want to make money off your name, image, and likeness, then you go make a deal with a local advertiser, a local sponsor, and you get it done. You're not reaching out and trying to bleed all your fans for money to shovel over to these guys, which, of course, is happening on the big-time level. Quarterbacks being offered $14 million, bidding wars taking place, et cetera, et cetera. If I'm you, and, of course, you coached at the highest level where money was flying all around the NFL, I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm here where I don't have to fight those kind of wars. We have the businesses in our community, and if anybody on my roster wants to go take a job or do an endorsement to get paid, that's what NIL is supposed to be about.
You're absolutely correct. I tell you that we pride ourselves in doing it the right way. We pride ourselves in making and building the whole person. I'm so encouraged about the product, not the football product right now, but the product of man that we are producing within our program. We're just very proud of our kids. In our staff meeting today, all of our kids have summer jobs, and they work summer jobs so that they can pay for their housing off campus because, of course, nobody wants to live in the barracks during the summer, so that they can live in Charleston and work out and be with one another and to try to get better. And I'm encouraged about the human being that we're producing.
Coach, I saw on the school's website that you guys at the Citadel announced yesterday your latest class, the 46th annual Hall of Fame class for the Citadel in 2024, and they'll be enshrined here shortly. And one of the names that just stuck out, I wanted to get your take on him, Lance Cook, who played and graduated in 1992. And here was a guy who was a member of a team that beat Navy twice, beat South Carolina, beat Army, earned all Southern Conference honors his senior year. What do you know about him, and how impressed are you that the Citadel will be enshrining him into your school's Hall of Fame?
I tell you what, we literally just spoke about him here at the Chester Citadel Club meeting. I'm very impressed, and I'm very, very glad that he's going to, and his family will have the opportunity to be enshrined and to be in our halls forever. But I'll be remiss if I did not mention my best friend, bless his soul, who's in heaven now, Stanley Myers.
Mm-hmm.
He is also being inducted this year as well. And I'm just excited about this class, very excited about this class of Hall of Famers. And it's going to be a big, big weekend when they're enshrined.
One last thing, football-wise, we'll let you go. So, as I touched on, offense really struggled last year, 10 points per game. Second time around in building this offense with this new quarterback and influx of new talent, like, in your opinion, where can you go offensively, numbers-wise? What would be a target points per game that you're shooting for?
Well, and this is where I become a politician, right? I'm not going to give you a points per game, but what I am going to tell you is we played with 29 guys last year who did not start or even play high school football.
Whoa.
And just that, right? Okay? So that obviously filtered into our program. We are a work in progress. We do understand that. What we have been able to do in this off season in attacking our offense, we've built it around this quarterback who we brought in. And I'll be remiss if I didn't talk about our backup, because that is important too. We don't have one quarterback, but we have two, and it's not one of those things where they're going back and forth. We have a legitimate guy who will be in the backup role, who is playing at a high level through spring ball and right now, in Dustin Fletcher, transfer from Northern Illinois. I personally believe, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, because of those two individuals, our offense will go. Everything centered around that position. And we struggled last year at that position, and we can't do anything but go up from there.
Yeah. Well, we thank you so much for taking time out. We'll let you get back to those hungry Bulldogs. Look forward to seeing you later on this summer, and then hopefully talking about some Citadel W's come this fall. But thanks for the time as always.
Thank you, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You too, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maurice Drayton. And, boy, tough year last year, as we mentioned, winless, offense struggled, defense had its struggles, but he's right. I mean, gosh, I didn't realize they were that young and inexperienced across the board.
How can you not root for that guy, though? He does everything the right way, and I sure hope he's starting to turn the corner down there. Our state's better when the Citadel is good at football.
I agree. And you're right. I mean, that's what NIL was supposed to be about.
Exactly.
And, of course, it gets abused at every turn when it gets up to the higher levels, which is a shame. And we'll be back.